Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are looking at a career that is, honestly, it's exhausting just to read about.
Let alone live through.
Yeah, we are talking about Monty Kip Sopp.
If you walked into a crowded arena, I mean, pretty much anywhere on the planet right now, and yelled Monty, you'd probably get crickets.
Right.
But if you yelled Billy Gunn,
oh, you might just start a riot.
or a massive sing-along.
Or a sing-along, usually both.
Usually both, exactly.
So the mission for today is pretty specific. We've got this massive stack of sources here. Biographical records, match histories from WWF, TNA, New Japan, and now AEW.
Right.
But we aren't just here to recite a resume. We want to figure out how one guy stays relevant from, like, the super cartoonish era of the early 90s all the way to the high-speed style of the 2020s.
It's a masterclass in adaptability.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the data, you look at the patterns. Most wrestlers, their shelf life at the top is maybe 5-6 years if they're lucky.
If they're lucky.
Billy Gunn has just survived by constantly evolving.
And the numbers are just, they're staggering. In WWE alone, he racked up 14 championships.
14.
11 of those were tag team titles.
Which is a key data point we're definitely coming back to. He is, you could argue, the greatest tag team specialist in history.
And he's still active in his 60s. He is winning titles in stadiums while being eligible for a senior discount. So, okay, where does a guy like this even come from?
Well, that's what's so interesting, because he wasn't exactly born in a wrestling ring.
No.
If you want to understand his physical durability, you have to go back even further. Before he was Billy Gunn, Monty Sopp was a professional bull rider.
A bull rider. Okay, that explains. Actually, wait. Does that explain it? That sounds like a terrible way to preserve your body.
You'd think so, right?
Yeah.
But think about the biomechanics of it. He did it professionally in his early 20s. To stay on a bucking bull, you need incredible grip strength, insane core stability, and balance.
You're just holding on for dear life.
Exactly. But it's about moving your center of gravity. We're
Really?
talking about a guy who's 6'3", 260 pounds.
Yeah?
Guys that big usually move like trucks. They're stiff. But because of that rodeo background, he learned to move with the agility of a much smaller man.
So he's got the size of a heavyweight, but the balance of a lightweight.
Precisely. That's the foundation. He trains, spends about 8 years on the independent circuit, and then in 1993, he gets the call. He signs with the World Wrestling Federation.
And this is where we get the first big iteration, the smoking guns.
A classic early 90s gimmick. He's teamed up with his on-screen brother, Bart Gunn.
And they really leaned into the whole cowboy thing. The sources we looked at talk about these vignettes of them riding horses.
Oh, yeah, and they would literally fire blanks from pistols in the arena.
During their entrance. Can you imagine that today?
No way. But in 1993, it worked. They were the ultimate babyfaces, the good guys. And they were successful. They won the tag team championship 3 times.
But in wrestling, being the smiling good guy only lasts for so long. The crowd eventually gets bored.
And the relationships fracture. This brings us to the first big pivot. They had a manager, Sunny.
Who was basically the it girl of wrestling at the time.
Absolutely. The storyline was that she abandoned them because they lost the titles. She only wanted to manage winners.
Brutal.
It was. When they lost the belts, Billy gets frustrated, and in the storyline, he just walks out on Bart. The team implodes.
So the cowboy era ends, and usually when a tag team breaks up, there's that unwritten rule.
Yeah.
One guy becomes a star, the other one doesn't.
Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty effect, yeah.
Right, and for a minute there, it really looked like Billy was going to be the one who faded away. His first attempt at a solo character was rough.
We have to talk about Rockabilly.
Oh, please, let's talk about Rockabilly.
It's 1997. The whole culture is shifting. We're heading into the Attitude Era. Everything is getting edgier.
And Billy comes out as the protege of the Honky Tonk Man, who's basically an Elvis impersonator from the 80s.
It was a total mismatch. He was doing this retro gimmick while everyone else was trying to be cool and modern. The crowd was just dead silent for his matches.
So they had to do something drastic or, get fired.
Precisely. On this smaller late-night show, Shotgun Saturday Night, Jesse James, who we all know as Road Dogg, he just stops the match.
He broke the fourth wall.
Totally. He says, this isn't working. Nobody cares. Let's team up.
And Billy Gunn agrees and just smashes the guitar over Honky Tonk Man's head to seal the deal.
And just like that, the New Age Outlaws were born. Road Dogg, Jesse James, and badass Billy Gunn.
This was the turning point. I remember this so vividly. They went from, complete mid-card afterthoughts to the coolest thing on the show almost overnight.
It was instantaneous chemistry. Road Dogg was the mouthpiece, this incredible talent on the microphone.
Yeah.
Billy Gunn was the athlete. The size, the look, the drop kick, they covered each other's weaknesses perfectly.
And then they joined D-Generation X the night after WrestleMania 14.
Which is such crucial context.
Yeah.
They had just won the tag titles in a dumpster match.
A literal dumpster match.
A literal dumpster match. But joining DX put them with Triple H, Chyna, and X-Pac. They were now part of the most influential group of the late 90s.
They were the cool rebels. And Billy was sort of the enforcer of that group, right?
He was. While Road Dogg was doing the catchy intros, Billy was the one who looked like he could actually beat people up.
But he did have some solo success during this time. He won the King of the Ring.
1999, huge year for him. The King of the Ring tournament is a big deal. It's often used to crown the next big thing.
Right.
He defeated Ken Shamrock, Kane, and X-Pac to win it. And this was the absolute peak of the Mr. Ass gimmick.
I still can't believe he got so popular with a name like Mr. Ass.
It was the Attitude Era. It was ridiculous, it was juvenile, but man, he committed to it. He had a feud with The Rock that ended in a Kiss My Ass match.
And The Rock is just on another planet on the microphone.
He is, and to be honest, The Rock verbally destroyed him in that feud. It sort of exposed that while Billy was a great athlete, he wasn't a main event level talker.
And then injuries hit.
The rotator cuff. Just as he's getting this massive solo push, his shoulder gives out. He's gone for months.
And that seems to be a theme here. Every time he gets close to the very top by himself, something happens.
It stalls the momentum.
Yeah.
And in wrestling, if you leave for 6 months, the whole world changes. By the time he came back, the Attitude Era was winding down.
Which leads us to maybe the most controversial and honestly surprising reinvention of his whole career.
We're talking about the wedding.
We are absolutely talking about the wedding. After a short, forgettable run as the one, Billy Gunn, he teams up with Chuck Palumbo in 2001.
Billy and Chuck. Now, you have to think about the cultural landscape in 2001, 2002. It was very different.
Very.
At first, they were just two guys with matching headbands. But then they added a stylist, Rico. And they started acting more and more affectionate. The storyline was heavily implying a homosexual relationship.
Which was played for laughs, mostly.
Oh, it was absolutely played for comedy and shock value. But here's the thing. It worked. They won the tag titles twice. The crowd was invested.
And the climax was pure publicity stunt. September 2002 on SmackDown. Chuck proposes to Billy.
In the ring.
In the ring. They schedule a wedding ceremony. And the media coverage was huge. Mainstream outlets were covering it because they thought WWE was actually going to do this on live TV.
But it was a swerve.
Of course it was a swerve. Right before they say, I do, they call it off. They say it was all a stunt. They were just friends.
And then the preacher takes off a mask.
And it's Eric Bischoff, the general manager of the other show. He calls in a team called 3 Minute Warning to beat them up.
It was a classic shock value ending. But what really stands out to you about that era for him?
It's the lack of ego. A lot of tough guy wrestlers, especially back then, would have refused to play a character that, questioned their masculinity like that.
I don't quite.
Billy Gunn just didn't care. If it got him on TV, if it got a reaction from the crowd, he did it.
But again, the physical toll. Another shoulder injury, the team disbands. And by November 2004, after more than a decade, he's released from WWE.
So now he's out of the big machine. He's in his 40s. His body is beaten up. This is usually where guys just fade away. But he went on the attack.
He was very vocal. In 2005, he did this interview just blasting WWE and specifically Triple H. Said he was holding people down.
And that animosity, he carried it right over to his next stop. Total nonstop action wrestling. TNA.
Yeah, he shows up there in 2005. He can't use the name Billy Gunn. It's a WWE trademark. So he's the Outlaw, then Kip James.
And he reunites with Road Dogg to form the Voodoo Kin Mafia.
Which, if you look at the initials, VKM.
Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Not exactly subtle.
Not at all. They declared war on WWE. They were calling out Triple H and Shawn Michaels on TV. It was a chaotic time.
It feels a little desperate looking back.
It was, but it kept them in the conversation. And when that anti-WWE thing ran out of steam, what does he do? He pivots.
Yeah.
Again.
He becomes cute Tip.
Right. In 2008, he's an image consultant for a female stable called the Beautiful People. So now you have this 6'3" giant wearing velvet and managing these mean girls.
It's another example of him just finding a role, no matter how weird, to stay in the mix.
Exactly. He eventually leaves TNA, does the indie circuit, and then, surprisingly, the hatchet gets buried. He's back in WWE in 2012.
As a trainer for NXT, And he reunites with the New Age Outlaws. They even had one last run with the WWE Tag Team Championships in
A
2014.
nice little nostalgia run, but it ended on a really sour note.
The second firing.
2015, he was released again. He failed a test for performance-enhancing drugs, specifically elevated testosterone, at a powerlifting event.
And WWE has their wellness policy.
They do. So he's suspended from powerlifting, and WWE lets him go. Now picture this. It's 2015, he's 52, he's been fired for a drug violation. That is usually the nail in the coffin.
You would think. Great career, time to retire.
You would think. But this is where the Renaissance begins. And it starts in such an unexpected place, Japan.
New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Now, for anyone who doesn't follow NJPW, this is a promotion known for strong style. It's hard-hitting. It's serious. It is not usually the place for American comedy acts.
But in 2016, there he is.
He shows up, and get this, in 2017, he challenges Hiroshi Tanahashi for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship.
That's wild. Tanahashi is like the Michael Jordan of Japanese wrestling.
Exactly. Just being in the ring with him is a badge of honor. It showed the world Billy Gunn could still go. He wasn't just a gimmick, he was still a serious athlete.
And that credibility, that set the stage for the final act. Or maybe the fourth act, I've lost count.
When he signs with All Elite Wrestling in 2019.
AEW, initially he was hired as a coach.
But you can't keep a bull rider out of the ring.
Nope. He starts wrestling with his actual sons, Austin and Colton, the Gunn Club.
A wholesome family act at first.
Until the betrayal, his sons turn on him.
And this is where it gets really interesting. He aligns himself with the Acclaimed Max Caster and Anthony Bowens.
And Daddy Ass is born.
It was completely organic, wasn't it?
It was. The crowd just loved it. Bowens coined the name Daddy Ass as a reference to the old Mr. Ass gimmick, but flipped it to make him this cool, supportive father figure.
I mean, you have entire stadiums chanting, "Oh, scissor me daddy."
Which sounds absolutely insane to say out loud.
It does. But it became the hottest act in the whole company. And it led to championship gold. Again.
At all. In 2023, this is a massive show at Wembley Stadium in London, over 80,000 people.
And he, the Acclaimed, they win the AEW World Trios Championship. He is 60 years old at this point.
60.
And we have to pause on that. The sources note he has battled severe asthma his entire life. He uses an inhaler before matches. To be performing at that level at 60 with asthma, it's a statistical anomaly.
They held those titles for a record 238 days before losing them to a group that, ironically, included his own sons.
It brings the story full circle. He made his name in tag teams, and even in his 60s, his success came from finding the right partners.
So looking back, Bull Rider, Smoking Gun, Rockabilly, New Age Outlaw, Mr. Ass, Billy and Chuck, Voodoo Kin Mafia, Cute Kip, Gun Club, Daddy Ass. It is exhausting just listing them.
It is. But the thread connecting them all is adaptability. He never let his character get stale. He understood that how good your moves are only gets you so far. Your character is what gets you paid.
He is a chameleon.
A chameleon with a 36-inch vertical leap. And he understood the power of tag teams.
That's the other big takeaway.
He realized that by sharing the spotlight, he could extend his career. He let Road Dogg do the talking. He let the Acclaim do the rapping. He just had to be the physical presence. It saved his body and kept him fresh.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? I think it's a lesson in reinvention. You don't have to be the same person you were 10 years ago to be successful today.
In fact, in his industry, and honestly in a lot of industries, if you stay the same person, you become obsolete. His superpower wasn't just his dropkick. It was his ability to read the room and change.
And his name.
And his name. Many, many times.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a thought. We often talk about wrestlers who burn out bright and fast. But in an industry that usually chews up talent by age 40, you have to ask, does Billy Gunn have the greatest second act or third or fourth in wrestling history?
It's certainly the most colorful.
Thanks for listening to this deep dive. We'll catch you on the next one.
See you then.